My name is Amy Parent, and my Nisga'a name is Noxs Ts'aawit, which means Mother of the Raven Warrior Chief named Ts'aawit. I'm an associate professor in the Faculty of Education at Simon Fraser University, and I'm also a Canada Research Chair in Indigenous Education and Governance at Tier 2. My research interests are very much focused at the moment on Indigenous research governance, as well as working with Indigenous knowledge systems and Indigenous methodologies in all the research projects I engage with. I first heard about the totem pole almost 5 years ago when I went to my chief's house, and he'd actually wanted me to go and find more information on it. He knew that the totem pole had been stolen and that it was sitting in Scotland. And he also knew that we had a delegation go to Scotland, to the museum it was in, to try to repatriate it prior to the finalization of the Nisga'a Final Agreement. And it was at that time that museum officials told our delegation that it was too old to be moved. And so following that meeting, I went and I did further research. And I discovered that the totem pole had been moved in that museum. And so that made me very angry. And so that galvanized the research grant that we did for the project. I was really honored to be able to work with Silmagat Duke, who holds the oral memory of the pole's theft, which enabled us to co-write a book chapter together, which we published in a book. But we also use this book chapter as a foundation of our written claim for the rematriation of the totem pole. And following that, we did go to Scotland. And of course, it took a little longer than our initial 3 days there in order to get the totem pole back. But we were grateful on December 1st of 2022 to learn that the National Museums of Scotland would return the totem pole to us without condition. I think my proudest memory of the project was when we uncrated the pole and having our children be able to witness it for the first time. You know, it had only been me and Silmagat Nisga'a and my cousin Shauna who'd ever saw the pole as ancestors in this lifetime. And so when we brought that pole back to the NAS, it was the first time our nation and our children could see it. And I felt my spirit was at peace, knowing that our children had another story to tell about this pole. Our reason for going to Scotland was actually quite simple, right? It was very simple. We wanted our children to wake up every day and not have to work so hard to learn the stories of who we are. And we wanted them to be able to do that with every breath that they take. I know for myself, I'm a first-generation university goer in my family. Nobody else had ever gone to university. It took me many, many years before I actually felt comfortable within a university. And so I speak to those experiences in terms of my mentorship of other Indigenous scholars and racialized scholars in particular, in terms of recognizing some of the invisible and hegemonic constraints that students face when they walk into these institutions. And I think it's also important to be that mentor and to share your experiences and to highlight some of the barriers that we've encountered. I think if we're ever going to reconcile anything, the first thing that we need to share with our children and our students is how to be a whole human being. And by a whole human being, I mean the spiritual, the mental, the physical, and the emotional aspects of ourselves. I think within a Western society, we are too often focused on only the mind or the body, and there's not an integration of all four of those elements. And so I hope that they take away from all the classes that I teach the importance of becoming a whole human being and living in balance with themselves, reconciling that piece, but also reconciling that with others and also with the lands of where they live in order for us to live into the future.